Hey babe, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Christina DiStefano. In light and in honor of stepping into our next version self, I decided to pull out another dress that I've had for years that has been sitting in a garment bag or hanging in a garment bag in my closet. Just like last week's dress, that was another dress that I've had for 3 years, I think maybe a little longer, that has been in a garment bag in my closet. This dress and the dress I wore last week makes my heart sing, and that's why I bought it. But the version of me at that time was not aligned with those dresses. And so I never had an opportunity to wear them, or at least I believed that I needed an event to wear them, when in actuality, I create that opportunity. And so I'm using these videos and connecting with you as an opportunity to pull out these dresses that I have that have been sitting in garment bags. Last week, we explored how your home can reflect the woman you're becoming. And many of you shared something profound. You feel the shift, but your space hasn't caught up yet. This week, we're going deeper, because design isn't just about how things look. It's about how things feel and about what they mean to you. So if you're ready to step into your next chapter, then it's time to start designing for her, the next level you. All right, it's time for a very important question. Who is the next level you? If I fully stepped into the next version of myself, my 2.0 self, how would she live? This is a great time to actually take out your design journal. You want to start asking yourself questions like, what would her mornings look like? What would the art look like on her walls? What colors would she have in her home? What special things would she integrate in her decor or her design? What colors would surround her? What colors would her walls be? What textures would she feel aligned with? And another important question is, what would she never tolerate in her space again? Remember, you're not just decorating. This is so much deeper than that. You are creating an emotional blueprint via your home. This is a sacred mirror that shows you who you're becoming. This is design as identity work. It's design as self-respect. When we start thinking about design as identity work, design as self-respect, we realize just how significant everything is we bring into our home. As I mentioned last week, sometimes we're on this autopilot and we don't even realize that our surroundings are affecting us. It's like everything that surrounds you in your home and that is a part of your life, either, as I said last week, it pulls you back or pushes you forward. And so when we're on this autopilot, we are not noticing the things around us that impact us. You're just kind of living with it. You're living with the mess. You're living with the confusion. So when we think about in terms of self-respect, in terms of building our life and creating the new identity, the one that we aspire to have, and then aligning with that, we realize the significance of our home and how it feeds into that, how it feeds energy into what we're trying to create in our lives. Let's shift how we talk about our interiors and style, because style is a frequency. This is not about trends. You all know this feeling. You walk into a home, you walk into a space, and you immediately pick up the frequency of that space. You either feel calm, relaxed, inspired. You could also feel drained. That is what I call emotional ROI, emotional return on investment. And that's energy. Very much like a financial investment in a home or purchases you make for your home, asking yourself, is this financially Is this a financially sound decision? Does this make sense? You should also approach the energy and the frequency of your home in the same way. Does this support the emotion that I'm looking to create in my home? Is this a good investment in supporting me in my 2.0 version, in the new version that I'm aligning with to live? Does this bring in that energy? Does it align with that frequency that I'm generating in my life? Or does it take away from it? So you'll want to ask yourself for this section, am I designing my home for an older version of me? Or has this home been designed or decorated in a way that tells a story of an older version of me? Am I decorating for approval or alignment? Take time to really ponder those questions or write about them in your design journal. Designing for your next level self or your 2.0 version self means designing for your worth. It means designing for your softness, your creativity, for your femininity, for your power. All those feelings that you want to feel in this next chapter must be considered when creating your home, creating your environment. Envision her, style for her. Last week, we talked about the woman you're becoming lives here. And the biggest takeaway from that video was not about going out and moving or buying all new things. It was really begin by editing. Remove what no longer aligns with you. Take some time with this because you may find that there are a lot of things in the home that are no longer aligned with this 2.0 version of you. They could bring back old memories, feelings, things that you'd rather close the chapter on. So it's time to remove those things from your surroundings so that they're no longer taking energy from you and the creation of your next chapter. That woman you're becoming, maybe you're still trying to align with her and sort of strip away belief systems that told you who you should have been. And now you're really trying to go deep and find out, well, really, who am I? Who do I desire to be in this life? So let's meet her today. Step one, you are going to name her and visualize her. So whether you want to take time to ponder this here, or if you want to get out your design journal and have fun with this, you're going to write about, well, I'm going to ask you these questions and you're going to write about or ponder what inspires her, what grounds her, what does her environment feel like. Then go and create a Pinterest board. You're going to collect images that carry mood, material, color, and energy. These are not just pretty images. Create a version of her that you can truly feel, even if you can't name her yet. Step two, you're going to visualize her home. You're going to ask the simple but deep question, what does her home look like? What space does she create for herself when she needs to rest, dream, or read? Please note that you do not need a full renovation. You just need alignment. Think about how you will walk through your home. How will you feel? How will you walk through this front door? How will you wake up in the morning? What things would you like to see when you wake up in the morning that would make you feel more aligned with her? Sometimes it's just little things, which brings me to step three. Bring her home now. Start small, but start intentionally. Everything is about intention. When you put intention into something, you put meaning into something. It helps to define your motivation. So here are some ideas. Paint. Paint is one of the least expensive ways to completely transform a space. Have you been playing it safe with your walls? Is there a color you've always wanted to paint your walls but been afraid to do because you're afraid of what others might think, or you're afraid of making a mistake? Maybe you start small with just one wall, or you paint the ceiling. Either way, paint is a great and actually very powerful way to transform a space. I also think that painting is really fun, like to paint a room and just get that gratification in a couple days. You're done and you have a room that feels like a totally new space. Upgrading our white linen sofa with different pillows throughout the year helps me to refresh the space, but we can get more intentional about that. Perhaps you're wanting something, or this 2.0 version of you craves bold colors or bold patterns, or perhaps she's craving the calmness and the serenity of a neutral palette. So pillows can really transform a space in a very inexpensive way to change up the feeling. But also you want to think about the texture and the materials too, and size can play a huge factor. Fragrance, it's one of my favorites, and I come back to it. A designer fragrance room spray that you spray into the room and can completely change and alter the feeling, or it's an oil diffuser, or perhaps it's even just essential oils that create a serene and spa-like feeling. Fragrance has the power to really transform a space. There's something about the olfactory nerves that trigger memories. So perhaps it's a fragrance from a vacation or a special memory. So a fragrance has a way of transporting us to places where we've been and where we want to be again in our future version self. Something else that is an inexpensive adjustment that you can make is changing out your window treatments. Sometimes we have very heavy treatments because we've invested so much money in buying the window treatments, buying the drapes, or having them custom made, that we feel like we have to hold on to them even though they're no longer aligned with who they are. They carry a heaviness and a weight, and maybe what you're craving is more space, more feeling to be allowed to take up space, more energy and more light. And if we just remove those heavy shades and add something like a Roman shade or something in linen, something lighter, something airier, we can start to elevate the feeling of the space and give ourselves more energy to align with that next version of ourselves. Maybe it's lighting. Maybe you need to add an extra floor lamp in the area where you read or where you create a reading nook. Perhaps you want a little space where you can read some books that inspire you and encourage you, or you hang out and journal and sip a cup of tea. But maybe adding a nice warm floor lamp or a lamp in that area will be inspiring for you. We're creating a space for you to feel nurtured, to feel safe, so that you can bring out the real you, and home is the perfect space to start that work. Of course, editing, we mentioned that before, decluttering, you're going to want to make space for her to fully arrive. Assess your art. What do you have hanging on your walls? Does it mean something to you? Does it make your heart sing? Art can show us a life that we dream of living. Maybe start with something small. It could even be a beautiful postcard that you buy from an art gallery that inspires you and reminds you that you are deserving of the simple luxuries in life. These aren't just style changes, these are emotional shifts, and they change the way you experience your home and your life. The woman you're becoming, she deserves beauty, she deserves space, and she deserves to show up in your life starting now. This week, I invite you to not just visualize her, but to start styling for her. Choose one corner, one space, one scent, one item to reflect on, and let that reflect the truth of who you're becoming. So tell me in the comments, what's one shift that you're going to make this week to align you with who you're becoming? This is a great opportunity for you to comment and hold yourself accountable. I love things like this. I love to have other people witness the kind of change that I'm planting the seeds for. So this is a great way for you to plant those seeds. And don't forget to subscribe. Each Sunday's video is another step in your becoming. And on that note, I want to say, sending you so much love from New York. Mwah. I made myself a nice little fancy coconut water in a champagne flute with ice. So I wanted my coconut water to feel special.